having something that also very relevant that's happening this month. This month is known as Autism Awareness Month,
Yes.
right? And who else to have this conversation about what the accomplishments of the month are and what activities are upcoming this weekend? We have Christy Almeida here with us of Autism Belize. Christy, thank you so much.
Thanks. I'm the antithesis of sleep, so...
You're the what?
Antithesis of sleep.
Oof, that's a big word.
I definitely can't say that word.
I cannot say that word.
Okay.
Antithesis.
Antithesis. If you're going to mispronounce it, you could say antithesis. That's what people
Antithesis
say.
then.
But it's antithesis.
Also, you do not sleep.
Yeah.
Oof.
Sleep and me.
Girl.
So that's going to be a good conversation for you to have then.
I was excited to hear. I wanted to hear about it. I'm like, really? Because, you know, me and my son, it's like I'm at the point where bring on the drugs, people.
But that's the thing, you know, I think a lot of people probably, I mean, parents that have children that have autism, you know, they're probably suffering that same thing where, you know, sleep is just a luxury, something, and that's why we have Autism Awareness Month, so people can understand the struggles, but also understand the beauty of these children that are more than just autism. Like, they are beautiful people that have lives and dreams and ambitions.
Really
and
cool
every single,
personality.
yes, that make you just laugh and just like wonder, what? And I just have that experience with, so.
Right.
I'm thinking that's why, you know, we're
That's
going into
true.
the key of autism awareness.
Right. And I assume you've been quite busy this month. Christy, how
I'm
are you? I mean, the month is winding down.
exhausted. I don't remember what sleep looks like, but it's been a really good month.
I'd love to hear that.
Last night, writing something, and I'm thinking, and of course, as a person, you know, you focus on your failures. And I'm like, I was not as active as I needed to be on social media. I got so many phone calls and messages from parents with questions that I know some fell through. I was like, oh, I'll call you back. And then at the end of the day, I'm scrolling down WhatsApp trying to figure out who I've missed. And I know I've missed. And so that, like, last I was like, oh. And then I started like, wait, but what have we done? And that's been big. Last year was our first ever really Light Up Blue month, and that we really focused on autism. And it took off. You all know this. Everybody was on social media wearing their blue and posting their pictures. There were blue light bulbs, buildings were lit up blue. We ended with the walk, and we had walks in Orange Walk, Belmopan, and Belize last year. Well, this year, we're looking at the same sort of thing. And the same buildings, new companies lit up blue. A lot of them reached out and said, oh, can I get the graphics? I want to put this up. And so that interest was there. But by the end of today, because I have 2 more presentations, we will have done 22 presentations to companies and organizations.
Love it.
Most of which, like, willingly invited, not us going, can we come in, can we come in, come in. No, they were calling. I'm getting, you know, messages from the De La Fuentes Pharmacy. We're getting all our employees from all our different branches together. Can you come and train? We've done numerous departments from BEL, a huge group, you know, from Digicel, and it's just like, it just kept continuing. Belize Healthcare Partners calling. I'm like, really? Okay, sure.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's been...
I love it.
I love that.
Right.
Like, they took it to the next level.
Yes. And they're like, we want to make our company or our wherever staff inclusive of persons with disabilities. And you know what's key? Because I was having a conversation with my family the other day, is that whenever we think about autism, we think about children, but what about adults that are autistic, right?
Yes.
And they're right within your workspace, and you're trying to understand them and build that working relationship. So having these conversations in those adult spaces doesn't really, it impacts them as a parent in case they have an autistic child. But what about your colleague? What if your colleague is autistic?
We have a training that we do. I call it inclusion. It's what we do, and it's about the inclusive workplace and how you promote it. Because it's not just about hiring someone with a disability. You can't just say, oh, I'm going to hire someone who is visually impaired and expect everything to work properly, especially if we haven't done this before. There's, you know, a level of sensitization. There's about recognizing what this person's strengths are and where you can help, and having the staff recognize that this person can be a real asset, you know, in some areas, and building that sort of bridge. So we understand that, yes, there might be some differences, but that we can complement and work together. So we do have some trainings about that. And that's funny because we did a couple, like I said, these trainings, and they're basic for most of the companies, but we've had some of them come back and say, okay, we're gonna want you to come back to do
follow-ups.
more. And that's what I've seen, like with Belize City Council, we did oh my gosh, over 40 of them, again, different sessions every time for their Easter egg hunt. So for the first time for their annual Easter egg hunt, they had a 2-hour block before the crowds came for our kids with disabilities. And our parents complimented so much about how the volunteers were so attentive with the kids, et cetera. And so, you know, we've gone back to them and we're talking about how else we can work to do these sorts of things. And that's been the thing, that yes, we had some of our weaknesses, and I recognize now I definitely need some more help. But the community has really come out for that, and they've learned, and now they're trying to apply what we've learned. We've had a family day in Cayo, and that was largely due to Therapy Abroad, one of the organizations that bring therapists in. But we also got Rotaractors and Interactors from Cayo, the Belmopan area, to come and help. Rotaract Club of Belize City got their sensitization training, and then had a family fun day on Friday night for some of our kids. And so, you know, you could see where they're like, okay, so we know this, we want to do this, how else can we help?
Yep.
And you're seeing the flyers now, and this is a part of what's happened. Last year, we had walks in Orange Walk, Belize, and in Belize City. Belize City, Orange Walk, Belmopan, sorry. This year, we have in Benque, in San Ignacio, in Belmopan, in Dangriga, in Punta Gorda, in Corozal, and in Orange Walk, and San Pedro.
Wow.
Massive.
We have partnered with the counselors on the town and city councilors. Everyone has a person with responsibilities for responsibility for persons with disabilities, and they have been working and have put on. So on Saturday, you have no excuse not to come out. You wear your blue and you come out in whatever district. Most of the districts are having their events at 6 a.m. Orange Walk is doing a glow run at night.
Yeah, that's
at
pretty cool.
6 p.m.
I saw that.
So I'm doing Belize City, and then I'm going to Orange Walk.
I just met a man.
I'm doing both. Yeah, so they're doing their glow run.
Nice.
And then in San Pedro, they're doing it in the afternoon. They're doing a little parade at 11 o'clock, and then they'll have festivities in the park. Representatives from Autism Belize will be out there talking, and we have flyers and stuff. But then there's a kite competition, a kite flying, and different activities for kids with disabilities.
Christy, I'm curious. So with all of these municipalities deciding to do something for Autism Month, how does that translate to you and your advocacy work?
It's a wider reach. We get, like I said, I get so many that I haven't been able to keep up of messages from parents saying, you know, I have concerns, or, you know, where can I get a diagnosis? That's those sorts of questions. And those come in countrywide.
Okay.
And I'm able to tell them what is and is not available, invite them to our support group, which is done virtually. Even though COVID's gone, we recognize our group is now countrywide. I can't go to in-person meetings, because then I'm gonna forget Miss Monique in Punta Gorda, and she's gonna kill me.
And it's cost effective too, right?
Yes, that is absolutely true. But I think knowing for our families that will come out and everything, knowing that there's a counselor there who is supportive and willing to do something, knowing that they're not just seeing the in-person events in, you know, Belize and Orange Walk or whatever, but even in the smaller areas, will let our families know that there is a wider community, that the acceptance is growing, and that if they really need some assistance in their area, they know who they can turn to. And that, you know, their city councils and their town councilors are at least a little bit sensitive and open to trying to help where there's need.
Yeah, Christy, you have also joined the dialogue when it comes to the Equal Opportunities Bill.
Yes.
Right? And that, like, persons with disabilities is a key population that's getting addressed within this bill. Can you talk about...
I'm upset about that. I'll be honest about it. Because when you say equal opportunities, immediately people think this, that, and the other. And it's like, hello, we're there too. The bill isn't for just one population, and it's not just for one thing. And I think that for those who don't get that, we really need to do more sensitization, because when we're talking about equal opportunities, we're talking about for all our marginalized, invisible populations who are struggling to become a part of society, to be truly integrated for what, you know, powered by inclusion, that we're included. And that's exactly what the bill is doing. It's just respecting everyone's rights and recognizing that some of us, even though you say, oh yes, you have the right to work, if there's not certain protections, some of us are excluded because, you know, companies might look and say, well, how is this like, what am I gonna have to do? And that's it. It's just affording those who are different this same protections that everybody else. It doesn't put us above.
Right.
We're just trying to get our foot in the door.
That is true. And I think that's why education is always important, because people kind of filter out what they want. When they hear equal opportunities, again, you know, they go to one specific group and they're like, oh, and then they're going against the bill, not knowing exactly what this bill really well encompasses. And so that's why it's so important that people ask the correct questions before they go against something.
And we have people like you
ask.
at the table, sitting down and, you know, and calling out these things. That's very important too.
You know,
you should, and then I'm
opportunities,
hoping
it's
other
about
people call
persons
out.
with disabilities too. Yeah, like that's what it is.
And
like,
you should get
read it.
upset. People should get upset. More people should be upset about it and say, I don't like that you're thinking in this way, because there's so much more to it.
I'm gonna date myself here, but there used to be a commercial on MTV. MTV still exists?
It does.
Okay.
It does. Yeah.
And they started in their line of people and they whispered, and they, at the start they go, the music revolution is starting, and then they pass it down and the other person at the end says the turkey's in the oven. And I really think sometimes that's what happens.
Yeah.
You hear one thing, somebody will repeat it, and it's kind of a version, and that keeps getting repeated until it's completely distorted. And we don't take the time to do our own factual research, and that's not just a couple things on Facebook, like really doing the research and actually reading things. You just don't read anymore, period. But that we need to do that. It's the same thing, you know. I'm not completely versed on the whole marijuana bill, but, you know, I'm taking my time to try and figure it out as well, because if I just listen to a couple callers or a couple loud voices on the radio, I'm going to make my judgments that's not based on fact.
Definitely.
And I will be honest, I am one of those that I'm supportive of that. Their CBD oil does wonders for some of our kids who have aggressive behaviors, who are extremely hyperactive, lots of stimming. And I'm not talking about all our kids will stim. That's fine, that's natural. But if you're stimming so much that you can't stop to learn how to write or participate in school or participate in society, then we have to look at it. And you try interventions first. But if those don't work, then we consider other alternatives. For a while, under doctor's orders, when we were in Canada, my son was on CBD oil, and I saw a difference. So I am not, you know, jumping in things, but you have to take the time to learn, because there are a lot of these things that immediately just, you get this immediate reaction to things without stopping to say, okay, what exactly is in these bills? How will this affect me? How will this affect my brother? And then how does this affect the wider community?
Right, and sharing testimonies like yours, you know, it demystifies the whole concept of, if we're talking about the marijuana bill, what comes with it, what are some of the uses, and how it can positively impact populations. You're saying your son was using CBD oil. I am aware of other people, especially people that have epilepsy, for instance, that are using to control their seizures. So we're having these conversations, and thank you for sharing that, Christy, because it allows us to educate ourselves better and be more
different
informed.
Context as well. Again, I really wish people would not filter things the way they filter it, because you want to hear what you want to hear, or you want to listen to, like you said, a couple people that are ranting on about X, Y, and Z. So you're going to go with that because it seems more negative. It seems like sometimes the sad part is the louder voices that are of negativity sometimes drowns everything out. And a lot of times people aren't talking about the positivity. They're not talking about more inclusivity for people with disabilities. So you're hearing something else when it comes to the Equal Opportunities Bill. And for marijuana, you're hearing only about smoking. So that is the problem a lot of times, because people that are supposed to be promoting it, that are supposed to be sharing their voices, sharing their testimonies like you did just now, they're not doing it.
We really do need to just take the time. And then it's with autism. In our community, it's the same way. Because it's such a wide spectrum, every person's story is different. You know, you have me on and I can talk about Mateo. You can have another mother on talking about their child, and it's going to be, they're like, oh no, we don't have a problem with sleep. We don't have a problem with eating, but we do have problems with X, Y, and Z. And it just varies. And the ability for us to just stop and listen to stories and think about things, and not just about how it affects us, but how it does affect our community. And I don't know as a country why we've stopped that. It should not just be about, well, for me, but look at other people and see that. And that's why taking it right back to the month, how grateful I am for some of the companies who have invited us in, you know, and even those who are supporting the walk. Crystal is providing water for all of these events for us. So, you know, like they've come out in a big way. In Belize, we're gonna be giving prizes for raffles and things. And so Digi is giving away, you know, Digi Wallet cash, and we've got gift baskets and stuff from Sagicor. Sagicor came out last year. They're a big group in Belize City. They were one of our biggest supporters last year. And then I saw the email that went out, and they're encouraging all their staff countrywide to participate in every district.
We love it.
And I've seen that with, you know, some of the companies where they're sending out, and they're not just saying it's not just for Belize, it's whatever. And that's what it is. It's building that family. I feel now that with Sajid, I'm like, of course I expected you guys out there. You're part of our family. You know, Digi from day one has been a part of our family, and it's just expanded. And that's what we need to look at for our country, is think about our families, nuclear and extended. Speaking of another parent with a different experience, we've got Roslyn that's coming up.
Right, so we're gonna get Roslyn mic'd up.
While this is what it is. And so when we look at these things, whether it's bills, equal opportunity bills, hiring, things for education, including people in the classroom, just look around and think, these are our family. Let's learn about what they are and figure out how we can mutually benefit and work for each other. Because these are things that can. The equal opportunities isn't just gonna be about promoting one little area. It's gonna be about including us in society, which will have a longer term benefit for everybody. And so if we look at that and say, you're my family, how can I help you? Great, I'll do that. Now you can help me by this.
We have Roslyn join. Good morning, Roslyn.
Morning.
How are you today?
Tired.
Tired. Well, we thank you for taking
It's not
the
even
time.
8 o'clock yet.
But I mean,
My daughter was up
exactly.
from like 3 a.m.
But we thank you for taking the time to be here with us
He's
today,
the
Roslyn.
sleep thing, you
So
see?
we're aware. So you're a parent of an autistic child,
Yes, I am.
or a child with autism. I should
With
say that, right?
You can do
Yeah.
either. Because of the spectrum, there are a group of them that are really proud to be autistic. They see this as their, it's part of their personality and their character. It makes them who they are.
Thank you.
And so they want to be autistic. There are some on the other side of the spectrum who this is really a struggle. Things are hard for them. Everything from eating to talking to everything.
There you go.
So they prefer
see
to
why
be known
conversations
as a
like this are
person
important,
with
because we're
autism.
able to, our language is very key and the way how we communicate with people.
Yeah.
Roslyn, share with us your story. How is it going with your daughter? How is your daughter? Please give us some insight.
Today was a really rough day, but
Okay.
yeah, she was up from 3 a.m. crying. The pain thing that you don't know where the pain is coming from, but she's having pain. And then she went to sleep like 5:30, and before I came, she was bright again. So it was kind of crazy.
It's like a pattern she has? Or
No,
it's just today?
to be honest with you, it's not really a pattern, but they do have times when they go into depression themselves, or if she has pain somewhere, then I would not know, but she would just cry. And it takes sometimes like 3 to 4 hours for you to even indicate where the pain is coming from a little, and sometimes it's not even that. But she's 11 years old. Her name is Elise. And
What a beautiful name.
yeah,
She's beautiful.
Yes,
she
she
could have
is.
been she's like a model. I watched her this weekend and I just kept marveling at how beautiful it is. Very doll-like.
Oh, she's sent a picture so we can see.
I could
It's
do
okay.
that after.
Yeah.
Or we'll show these later on in the show. But
Yeah, but yes, and she attends Salamaris. Well, she was out because of COVID, because she has this thing that when she's nervous, she eats like her joints from her fingers. So that's very like not good with COVID. So I had her out of school, but she'll be back September. And she is on spectrum 3. She's nonverbal. She's 100% dependent on me for everything.
Wow.
So yeah, it's completely different from Miss Chris's case, you know. And with her, it's just something that you need to figure out every day if she's doing something right or she wants something. But as she grew older, she's finding herself. So she has a lot of personality, like a lot. Like if
Tell us about this personality.
if Elise would be sitting here right now, like she only sits for like 3 to 4 seconds. But if she sits, like you would not believe that she has anything that's wrong with her.
Okay.
But she has, like, if I just bathe her and get her dressed, she would go in the mirror and she would touch herself and be like,
I look good today,
And if she does not like you, she skins up her face
There you
and
go.
she learns a little suck teeth thing now. So with kids with autism and with Elise, it's like, it's not something to me that holds them down. Like the older they get, they learn how to deal with the disability. And she knows that she's different because sometimes when she go into public, like she would look around and be like, okay, everybody's doing what mommy's doing, so that means that I am the different one, so I will just do what I do. And that's another thing that we as parents with kids with autism always ask people for acceptance. And it's always my motto that it only takes 5 to 10 minutes to enter into their world. And if you can do that as a community, it makes my job easier as a parent.
How can people do that?
I was just gonna
though?
say that.
how can
Because
people make that
okay, in my community where I just relocated like 2 years, it was difficult at first because I went through a phase that Elise walked out, and instead of they calling me, they went and they called the police. And I went over and I explained to them. I said, if you see her that she follows me and I did not notice, the simple thing you can do is just take her home. She does not understand. And she was in a routine that she was going to the same area to buy because her sister takes her to buy. So, okay, I want something to drink. My sister took me to buy here, so I will go there. You understand? So I did not notice her that night.
Okay.
So after I spoke with them, and then it happened another time, the young lady brought her home. But from then, because she was transitioning into staying at home, because first it was, school. So my school van comes to pick me up a certain time, so I am
Right.
ready for then. When we went into that whole era of staying home and quarantine, it was crazy. She had tantrums because she wanted to go. So September now, it's another tantrum to get her into going to school.
change
Changing
routine
So
and everything?
yes,
Yeah.
once you change your routine, it's very, very difficult.
Okay.
And the tantrums are crazy because they're very, very strong kids.
Yeah.
Like,
Thank you. Thank you for
extra
sharing your
strong.
testimony. I don't want to miss the design on your shirt.
Oh, this?
I think it's like super mom of somebody
Yeah.
with autism. Is it?
Yeah, these are shirts that, because Alice is on medication for seizures.
Okay.
And me as a single mother, I can't afford it. So what I do, like every 3 months, I print shirts and I sell them.
Whoa.
But me, this is my logo. I can't really explain the superwoman thing because mentally I'm not there. But this is what I do, what I use to depict what I go through every day because it's a struggle every single day. And at the back, it has her voice and it has hashtag Elise because she's nonverbal. So if my daughter, yeah, that's Elise.
Wow.
If-
Look at
Thank
those
you.
eyes.
Yes, they're very, she's,
Yeah, it tells. It tells a lot.
Man.
Yeah.
yeah, so with my younger daughter, like if she's around with Elise, she would tell my sister can't speak, but you cannot do her that. Or if you give them something, be like, can I have for Elise or like that, So we're her voice. And most of my family members has a shirt, my coworkers, like when I walk around base, most of them would use the other black ones, So it feels really good when I see that because it makes me as a mother know that I am doing a good job.
You're doing
And you're
a
also being
fantastic
supported
job.
too as
Yeah.
well.
Yes.
And I think that's the thing that's super important right now, especially with Autism Awareness Month, that you're getting the support, that the business community, that all these people are coming out to walk. And it's bigger than people just saying, oh, we're just walking for a day or whatever it is. But I think it's just showing that there's so much people that see these children, that understand that they need to be included. And that's why we come out. That's why we show the blue. That's why we dance and we do all the different things that we do, because it's bigger than just like knowing about it, but we want to show you that we're here to support. So, but can you give us your contact information so people can be able to support? You said you do the shirts about 3 months.
Okay, my number is 632-7344, Or you could message me on Facebook, Roslyn Belize, and you could just tell me, and then I would get the shirts them for you.
Yeah, yeah.
But like what you said with the walk, the first time they did the walk, my best friend watched, she looked at me and she was like, why are you crying? And I tell her, you don't understand. Like, for me to take Alice somewhere and she is screaming or she's having a tantrum and everybody look at me and you're like, oh, watch her one day, Cruffy, can't tend to pick name. But in reality, that's the way how she expresses that I'm outside. And that's what we're fighting for a little bit of acceptance, it does not mean that every time I take her somewhere, I have to call before, because that's what we do. In all honesty, that's what we do. If I need to take them out to have lunch or anything, I have to call in advance. Hi, I'm Roslyn. I have a child with autism, and I would really like a table at the back so that she does not disturb your customers. And as much as it breaks my heart to do it, for her to feel comfortable, I need to do it.
Yeah, and you mentioned something that I really want to say something to. And you said you are not there yet, and as it comes to like supporting your daughter and that kind of thing. And I gotta say that as much as this is a learning lesson for you, and this is a learning lesson for your daughter, and do not beat yourself so hard because you're learning as your daughter is growing, right?
Yeah.
Every day you see something different, you see something new, and you're like, I did not know about this. So you go about adjusting your life.
Yes,
and that's what you're doing. So when I say you're a fantastic mom for the work that you're doing, like honestly, like wholeheartedly it is, because you're growing, you're both learning from each other. And the fact that you can read body language, I think that's super cool. It's a superpower on its own, right? Because that's how your daughter communicates. So
And just
gotta
on that
say,
same note,
fantastic job.
for you said how that you don't know like how to explain it properly, but the puzzle pieces directly, I would say that you're putting everything together.
Yeah.
Everything is just coming together as a superwoman,
The reason why I said that is because people just see us as parents with a child with autism, but they do not know what we go through mentally. And last year, for the first time, Elise is 11. And last year, for the first time, I'm not ashamed of it, I had a mental breakdown. And I actually cried that my child is autistic. And it took me 11 years to reach that point. And it's something that I know many parents, because I have this girl that I didn't even know. And when I shared my story for the first time last year, I had so many messages, and she messaged me and she's like, Miss, I am so ashamed. I don't even go out. I don't even take my child out. I cry. I literally cry. So I told her, I said, I'm sorry that my story made you feel like it's okay to stay in, but it took me 11 years to get there. I had Alice at 20 years old, and I was very young, alone in this, and with, family support only. And when I started, I said, you know what, Roslyn, she needs you. Yeah. And that's what made me go on and on and on. But then I took a step back last year and be like, breathe, girl.
Yeah.
And that was when, and yes, it is, and that's the thing, it is okay. It's okay to sit in your shower and cry, because I do it. It's okay to lock yourself in your room and cry, and I do it. Because then when you get up from there, like, okay, I can take on whatever else Alice bring to me.
Because that's the release,
Yes,
yes,
it is.
And I think that's the thing where I'm hoping that mothers like yourself don't try to beat themselves and think that you have to be strong all the time. You have to have it together. And
No,
I
you
get it,
don't.
because let it out, cry, scream, like, I'm not promoting this, but break a plate if you need to break a plate or whatever it is, but let that out, because you're going through a lot,
it's
and
a
it's
lot,
hard,
it's a
and a
lot.
lot of people don't understand it,
Right.
and they're not going to be able to respect it too as well, and so it's frustrating. So
Yes, and that's the thing. And sometimes if people see us like crying, they think, oh, you should love your child. This is a blessing from God. We love our kids. I love my son completely, but that doesn't mean that we can't be sad about how hard things are.
Yeah, you're allowed to get emotional.
Yeah,
It's okay.
his life is, I mean, sometimes I watch him and go, gosh, I wish I had your life where I could just like sort of play in the mud and forget about everything else.
Yeah.
But in all honesty, they struggle every single day, especially for kids that all levels have their difficulties and whatever.
Right.
But there are times when, because there's a lot of comorbidities. So for Alice, it's not just that she's autistic, but she also has seizures. She is also nonverbal. And now, as we get through puberty, we're talking about depression and anxiety.
That's what
and so
I'm
there's
dealing
all
with
of
right
these
now.
things that sort of come on that they really struggle with. And as a parent, it's hard to watch our kids struggle, whether they're neurotypical or with a disability or not. It's hard to watch them struggle. And so sometimes that can be overwhelming.
Right. Christy,
Right.
Roslyn, thank you so much for joining us today to talk about the achievements of Autism Awareness Month. And the testimony and the conversation we're having is proof that we're doing something right. We have all municipalities jumping on board on Saturday
yes.
to do a walk either in the morning or the evening. So go and check that Facebook
Walk and
page.
runs, because like
And
in
dance.
our-
Run,
dance.
Well, in
everything.
Belize City,
Yeah.
we're gonna have a truck playing music, so you
There
can
we go.
dance
So you
behind
have-
if you don't want to dance.
Put your back into it.
In Orange
Yes.
Walk, you have the choice of running or walking. In Belize too, there will be runners.
There you go. But there's
So
activities in all municipalities
Everywhere.
happening. So
Yeah.
if you want to find out more details, you can go to Autism Belize, and the flyers are readily available for you
all on
to
the-
know what's happening in your municipality. Go out, support somebody with autism. A friend might be a parent, a friend might be autistic, and you can do your part to support them. So thank you so much for joining us. We're going to go on a commercial break. When we're back, we continue with more exciting conversations on Sun Up on 7.